Everybody except Jesse, turn on your phones.
If only somebody had warned us about that.
I know. Who was that person, and why did he think that would?
Who's that girl? It's
There we go. But yeah, we're here at Swine City tonight, and we're here with Swine City founder Dan Ebben. Would you mind introducing everyone, telling what you
Now
guys
I gotta
do
remember
here?
everybody's name. This is Peepa. He's our brewer. Jeff is our multi-tool. Chris is our marketing and sales gentleman.
And you are.
I'm Dan. He told me. He told you that.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Random guy.
I'm just
No one.
nobody.
I think as Scott used to say, the yeast janitor and employee at large.
Well, that's
We're-
actually what my business card says is head janitor, so
And people believe it, which
Yeah,
is great.
they think I'm actually a janitor.
Well, you do spend a lot of time cleaning.
Yeah, I do.
Or in the bathroom.
Multi-tool.
Well, sometimes it's just nice to have a job.
Yeah, exactly.
And I take it the turbine is a crucial element in the multi-tool role,
In some ways, yes.
especially on hot, steamy, humid days.
Well, turns out my hair was pretty wet, and I didn't realize it, but if I had let it down and it was going to get all wet on my back, I didn't want that to show on the camera. It turns out that I'm facing forward now, so maybe it doesn't matter so much. I could tie it up. You want me to do that for you?
No, I don't care. It
I
looks
think
fantastic
it
as it
looks
is.
good.
God forbid you look hardworking.
I think maybe we've got a.
I also wear
Oh, there it
sunglasses in
goes.
the warehouse.
Oh, that's even worse. That is even
We almost
worse.
had a little bit of a movie. Now you got to go
Now
like this.
introducing
You
Fabio
gotta-
over here.
Yeah.
Trace May, man.
So the reason we're here today is to talk about opening up a brewery and why you would ever want to do that. So.
I ask myself that every day. No, it's not been bad.
Mhm.
I've heard other horror stories, but this hasn't been nearly that bad. It's just taken time, like anything.
How long have you been working on the project now?
It's been at least 3 years. That's from conception to actually the funding phase, dealing with some loan issues, and dealing with just getting construction done, and dealing with everybody in the city and the federal and state permitting. It's a bit of a hassle.
So even going back, so it's been 3 years of like this building
Here,
and really
yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Even before that, how long were you thinking about it? How long were you homebrewing?
A long time. Spent some time making wine and other mixed fermentations in the parents' basement without them knowing before I was 21, because it was illegal to purchase alcohol. But it was fun and something to do, and that kind of spawned that love, and got into some other interests and came back to brewing. My father-in-law gave me a Mr. Beer kit, and it wasn't the best, but it certainly taught me a lot about cleanliness and sanitization and other processes, and it doesn't change a whole lot from there. It's just what you put into it, what you get out of it.
So, I think before we get too much into the history, the part that everybody wants to know is when. When can we expect beer flowing in Fairfield?
Soon, we got the paperwork from the state today, which basically just means that everything's a go from their end of things, and as soon as federal comes in, that's when we start brewing. And I like to say 30 days, or Justin likes to say 30 days from them. I like to say 15 days from then, but it's just a matter of what comes out. And we definitely want to put the best product out in the marketplace, because sometimes you only get one chance. So that's what we want to do.
Awesome. So, I think as we've kind of learned with the unfortunate passing of Blank Slate, like there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that the average craft beer nerd just doesn't think about, the actual business side of brewing beer. So as you guys are getting started, what has been the thing that has surprised you most about opening up a brewery?
Honestly, the community of breweries, brewers, and people that actually care. And again, going back to Blank Slate for just a moment, there's some truth when people say if you care about something, drink it.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what your choice or your values are, if craft is important to you, if local is important to you, you need to support it. Otherwise, it will go away. It doesn't happen overnight. But again, I've heard a lot of people like, oh, I've only been there once. I'm like, well, you missed out on something fantastic. But it's just it needs to be out there. But the community at large, it's like a family. There's lots of people that will gladly help you out for things that you never thought you'd need help or want help for, but you need it. And it's honestly like family, and it's nice. And the Cincinnati community has been really welcoming, and Other communities have been the same, and it's nice.
Well, how is the transition from doing the homebrew to doing it on an industrial scale gone? Like, what have you kind of learned from that process?
It's a completely different animal. We have a pilot system that's all electric, and has a lot of the trappings of a bigger system like a grant and everything you would look for in putting out beer on an industrial scale or a larger commercial scale. And we did the same things with our bigger system. It's electric. It has a lot of the same features so that we can transition from home brew to commercial brew, but it's still so different. Just everything about it. You have to buy grain in such larger quantities. The hop schedule is different, and the quantity of hops is way different. The ratio, and just you can go, hey, what do you do for this to any of the other local breweries? And it's like, it's dependent on your system. It's not something that I can say this ratio is good. There's some places where you can start, but it's completely dependent on what you end up with.
Mm-hmm. What would you tell people who are either considering opening up their own brewers or a brewery, or about to open their own? Like, what's the advice that you would give them?
Clean your house, take a vacation, spend time with family, get used to simplicity, buy a couple of t-shirts of the same color and just go with it, because you're not going to be able to do much else. If you've been putting off visiting family in another state, do that, because it's gonna consume everything, and that's a lot of it. Finding a team, finding people that you can depend on and that depend on you is big. I met with Jeff a long time ago at a different homebrew club meeting, essentially, and I didn't know that he would play such a role in this, but he has, and he's one of those people. And Justin's the same way, and Chris is the same way. They're people that I can depend on and that depend on me, and it's something you need.
Well, if you're just joining us now, we're here with Swine City, and we're talking about opening up a brewery tonight. So I'd pose that same question to you, Justin. Like, I think you've worked at Rivertown and Fibonacci and other places,
Yep.
but with both of those were operations that were already in process. Like, how have you transitioned from like being a cellarman to now being kind of a lead brewer?
It's a huge transition. I mean, it's when you're working in a brewery that's already put together, it's one thing, because like you're basically trained on it, and like other people that have worked there and have been working there for a while train you on it. But now it's kind of like I'm putting my own operation together. It's like I'm dealing with ordering all the equipment, the grains, everything, putting together recipes. It's a new thing, but it's also exciting too, because it's like I kind of I have the freedom to do what I want, but it's like Dan told me from the get-go, it's like I almost have a brewer shopping spree on a budget bill. But still, it's like, I'll send up, I'll say,
nice
hey,
budget.
yeah, right. It's limited, but, so yeah, I basically, just kind of get to put it together and kind of going out on my own. It's kind of scary, but it's still exciting. Just like, I worked on a 15-barrel system, and now I'm working on a 10-barrel system, and it's completely different equipment, and just kind of putting it together all on my own. It's kind of fun doing that, which is neat to say the least. So. Yeah.
Well, without getting too beer geek on people, what can you tell us about your beer house? Like, what can...
It's a 10-barrel system. Mash tun and kettle are 10 barrels. And then we have 4 10-barrel fermenters, 1 10-barrel bright tank, 3 7-barrel, technically Soleras, Latinas, if you want to call them, something for mixed fermentation, and then one 18-barrel, aka 15-barrel fermenter that is from Rivertown. So I get a little piece of history, and actually the Latinos are from Blank Slate, so
Mount Carmel. And then
Mount
Blank
Carmel,
Slate,
then Blank Slate,
and then a barn
now
in
here.
rural Ohio.
Oh yeah, it sat in the field for a while. And
It wasn't in a field; it was in a barn.
well, okay, a barn.
A picture of him in the
In a
barn.
field.
Yeah,
The barn was in a field. Yes.
Yeah.
In very rural Ohio.
yeah,
And now they're here. You can kind of see them in the background there.
yeah. Look behind Jeff right there.
That's
piece of history.
where Fork in the Road was born many years ago.
Yep.
And now it'll be the birthplace of many funky beers here.
Justin, Pam Likens Cheney says, hi, Justin.
Hi, Mom.
So-
Thanks for watching, Mom.
Congratulations, you're now Cincinnati famous.
There you go.
You made it. You made it on the TV.
But wait, where did you go to high school though? The Cincinnati joke about where you went to high school.
I went to high school at Witten Woods. I'm my Witten Woods friends. If you're watching, I don't know if you like beer, but
Well, you guys are also getting a shout out from Steve Shaw over at Cellar Dweller and Bradley Plank over there for what is it? It's not Fretboard Brewing. They're welcoming you guys to the neighborhood, and it's great to. What would we say? Are you guys going to be like the 40th, 41st, 42nd brewery in the area?
For 42.
42.
That would be the perfect number.
Yeah, that would be, yes. You're gonna have to delay yourself a little bit though. We're only at 39 right now, depending on how you count.
I was going to say it all depends on how.
Hold my beer, Tom.
I can take longer to open. Don't worry.
No, please, God, no.
Well, Jeff, I'd put my next question to you. You could do a lot with the Brew Bus, and Brew Bus, if you're listening, we will totally take sponsorship. There you go, getting that name up there. But so you spend a lot of time at other breweries. What will you say that Swine City is gonna offer that will be either like new to beer fans or a big reason why they need to come in and enjoy what's going on here?
I think we've got a lot of malleability as far as a business plan. In terms of like how we want to adapt ourselves with the community and become part of the community, we've got a lot of land that we can work with for activities.
There's so much room for activity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What is it? 1.6 acres?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
And you guys have what? How many disc golf holes now? And you're gonna get.
I think we have 3. The last count was 3, but again, if anybody has any.
Oh, sure.
Are they already out there?
Good old brewer.
I'm stuck back there all the time.
Squirrel.
So. Yeah. We have an outside.
But there's that. We've got a lot of good minds who are kind of on the same page. So we don't just segregate ideas and plans or anything like that. So if somebody from the brewing world has something to say about what's happening in the marketing, or if our GM/owner says, "Hey, what's going on with this?" We can all have a nice, intelligent discussion about it and see what really can appeal to people.
Mm-hmm.
His wife is heavily, Debbie, she's heavily part of everything. And I know for me personally, whenever we're talking about planning and things like that, I look forward to her words and her advice because she's got a great perspective about what can work, what might not work, and things like that. And she's got skills that I know some of us don't. So, yeah.
Me especially.
Yeah.
That's when we were looking for employees and meeting people, it was important for me at least to find people that were unlike me with both values and assets and what they bring to the table, and I hope that I can benefit them in the same way. So it's very important. We have a really well-rounded team, and I think we'll do some great and fun things.
Now maybe we'll try and get Chris in here. So, what? Why Swine City? What is? I mean.
Well, I
What's
think
behind the name?
I mean, of course, Cincinnati's history with being Porkopolis and all that good stuff with the flying pigs and whatnot. So I think that's what we were kind of trying to tap into is just the culture of Cincinnati, just showing the area that we're hometown boys. We grew up here. We grew up in Cincinnati. We grew up in Fairfield. And that's what we want to be part of. We want to be part of your community. We want to.
Now, I've seen the logo. I love it. Who did that for you guys?
That was Lemon Grenade. Great guys, great team of
Tommy
people there.
Long, yeah. Blisterman and Bad Tom and
A lot of
a couple
people.
others.
Yeah, everyone.
Cincinnati,
I
Brew
believe
Bus
as well.
did, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they did.
So,
It's not the same.
Okay.
Method
Sorry.
Nachi did
Not
as well. So.
Cincinnati Brew Bus.
Wow. But he's
Yes.
become like
But no, yeah.
a go-to.
Yeah, and they're based out of Hamilton, so that's
down the
great.
road.
Right down the road. So, yeah, they've been great.
Well, their owner, Tommy Long, he's from Fairfield.
Yeah, he grew up in
went to
Fairfield,
Fairfield
yeah.
High School, and he was very happy to be part of the project because of that.
So what are you guys most excited for besides making money and being profitable and everything? Like, is there a
I don't think anybody's
beer?
excited about making money.
Right.
It's more being open and not having to close the doors permanently. Would be
Right.
fantastic.
If they're excited about not losing money at first, we'll focus on that excitement.
Well, besides that, like, is there a beer that you're excited to get in people's hands, or is there a moment that you already have in your head that is going to say, "All right, this is it, we've done it"?
I feel in my mind, I think it's having the tap room open and getting off, you know, after brewing for X amount of hours and like walking through the tap room and seeing people drinking the beer that we made. Like that to me is personally one of the coolest feelings ever. Like even when we worked at Rivertown and stuff like that, seeing people drinking my beer was the beer that I brewed was a cool feeling to me. So that's kind of a personal thing for me.
I think for me at least, I've already kind of reached not necessarily like the we're here moment, but like the at least the like we're definitely getting there.
Mm-hmm.
When we we get hit up all the time on Facebook Messenger with people asking us when we're open or what our hours are, and unfortunately we have to say, yeah, well, we don't really have hours right now, but hang tight. I think just every time I get that message on my phone, I'm like, yes.
Cool
Awesome.
thing for me was seeing somebody wanted a sponsorship for their kids' little league team, and I was like, yeah, that's a goal right there. That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
I would go to a little league game.
Right. I mean, I don't remember how many years ago it was that I first came here, but it was just a warehouse full of crap, literal like junk.
Yeah.
And it's awesome now to see the bar and the fermenters, and it's like, okay, yeah, I can see that this is happening eventually.
One of the first things you're like, oh, all this junk, what are you doing with all of it? And like you'll see, and now it's all like where it needs to go, and you're like, okay, you kind of had an idea.
Like all the junk's just gone somewhere else. I think it's out back around the corner.
It's been assembled.
I really hope all of you at home can't see this because of the frame right now, but there are beer bottles and cans lining kind of the walls. I'm hoping, are these going to stay? I kind of hope that they do.
I don't know. The running joke that's not really a joke is every time we've encountered a problem, we opened a bottle from the cellar, and we've had some issues, but I don't know. I don't know if those stay or not. They might not be part of Fairfield's code, and it might be a little more trouble than it's worth. But
we might be doing something else with the space above it as well, so you might not even be able to see them at some point.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to give them a good send-off.
Yeah. Now, circling back to the beer, do you guys have an idea of what you're going to open up with, or do you have a style or a range or anything that you want to focus on? Are you going to go lager only or something like that, or sour only, or?
I don't think I would do that. That seems, I don't know. I know March 1st is doing a fabulous job with what they're doing, and the ciders are fantastic, and their lagers are enjoyable for me. I'm someone who doesn't enjoy lagers, so it's good. I don't know that that's us, and we actually did a sneaky poll on our website where we said, hey, we'll give you a free water bottle if you tell us your favorite beer style. And so we got an idea of what people in the area want as a beer style, what they enjoy drinking. And just so happens most of those we have recipes that we've brewed quite a bit and that we're comfortable with and we're happy to share. And that's what we plan on at least opening the gate with. I definitely think there's room to get funky and weird, and we clearly have the space currently to do that, and we're going to. So,
Awesome.
Yeah. So we've got a question from Bradley here. It sounds like he wants to do a little market research. He wants to know if you'd care to talk about equipment, your manufacturer, whether you're doing a 2-vessel versus a 3 or 4 vessel, and projected barrelage.
Gotcha.
Bradley, I think you'll just have to wait for the Biz Journal. Andy Brownfield will have all of that. It's a yearly article, but
I can do it very, very quickly. We purchased used dairy equipment from a gentleman in Wisconsin who does a fantastic job welding stainless fittings to it. It is a mash tun with a stainless, basically a perforated stainless bottom. We have 2 HLTs, so we don't have to stop brewing for the day. And then our kettle is just a basic, again, a dairy cooler that's been converted for electric, and it's 10 barrels as well.
Now, I think that's something that people don't conceptualize when they talk about beer, because all they know is that it comes out the tap and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, how many brews a day are you expecting to do?
We're really more focused on the quality and the specific beer that we're making. If it's something that's easy to do, we're definitely going to be able to knock 1 or 2 or 3, for staying late out in a day. But if it's something that's taking some time, like a quad, I want that to be perfect. I don't want to mess around. I don't want to ruin it. That's,
Yeah, I think if we have to do like a blonde ale and a cream ale back to back, I think we could definitely knock that out in a day.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
Jason Author wants to know if you'll be making a Malort Stout.
Yes. Yes, Jason, yes.
There it is.
Yes.
I was either told that I have to try it or threatened with having to try it.
I would say
Oh, we can get
Chris-
Malort
Chris
face
is
on
back.
camera.
I hope Chris is being picked up back there. Oh, don't try it.
It's delicious.
Definitely drink it.
I'm gonna say, is there more beer? Preferably not chili stouts because it's hot in here.
You don't want to.
You want the Four Loco?
Yeah, Four Loco.
Now, is that original
take
Four
the
Loco,
chili
No.
We're
or?
gonna do a clone.
That's the Space Coast down.
So,
Preferably not.
That was hot.
I don't want to
It
dwell
is, yeah.
too much on our friends at Blank Slate and unfortunately what happened there. I do have some updates for everyone at home on some cool stuff that they're doing to get all their product out there, what's remaining. But I think it has provided kind of a learning experience, especially for the brewers here locally. Like, what lessons are you guys going to take away from that? Because, I mean, with 8 Ball closing, I think we could all agree that that was a different scenario, that the owners planned for that. There was undoubtedly something in the works with Braxton. There was a project that was going on there, and
Sure, I'll drink
they
some,
read the
guys.
climate and decided that they wanted to focus on distilling, and that's that. But it really becomes apparent that people are feeling, the end of Blank Slate quite personally. So, what have you guys learned from that?
Scott was a really interesting guy. He was very, very helpful, at least to us, and a lot of people in the brewing community on Pro Brewer. Basically, he would be the people would come in and ask a question. He would be like, "No, don't do it that way," and that's great because otherwise, people would be doing things half-assed or taking on way more than they need to. One of the things that stuck with me was I was actually going to buy a facility right over there and put in my own floor drains, basically cut my own trenches and all that jazz. But he's like, just hire somebody. I did it. Just hire somebody. You'll have better results. Things will actually drain properly. And we ended up finding a building that had floor drains already, so that was beneficial. There's a lot more lessons to be learned from that. It was a good warning in not necessarily doing things your own way all the time. It's great from a standpoint of creativity to be able to do what you want, and for art, which is what he was doing. It's great because he just did what he wanted, and that was what he did. It wasn't a chase for money. But when you have business and you have a canning machine and you have month-to-month rent, sometimes you have to brew a cream ale or a blonde ale that you don't necessarily want to. I don't drink a lot of them. I don't drink a lot of lagers either, but it's not something that I'm afraid of doing.
That actually leads perfectly into my next question is, how do you guys feel about chasing trends? Because there's obviously the New England IPA craze is eating up Cincinnati. There are, several breweries here that are latching on to that and, doing a good job of, getting everything they can out of it. But, you do have to a certain degree, do what the customers want. But at the same time, you got to stay true to the brewing styles that you, and have intended to do and the beer that you want to make.
For me, it's not a never say never type of thing. It's not something that it's not something I am crazy about, but and I don't really believe in chasing trends or fads for the most part, just because usually you get left holding the bag at the end of the trend when it's over, like all those people that have a bunch of fidget spinners that they want to sell. I've enjoyed quite a few of the Listerman beers, but I enjoy a lot of other things that they do too, and I enjoy a lot of other styles. So,
but I think that one of the conceptions about Swine City has also been kind of, and I'm not sure, can you cuss on this?
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
Okay,
It's not TV.
Alright, sorry.
You
This is
are
not going
totally
on
allowed to
PBS.
cuss
There's
on the
not-
internet.
you mean there's not children watching a podcast?
How
about
long-
beer?
Well, the FCC doesn't care.
You think
Yeah.
I would be
Yes.
involved?
Like you can curse on your own
You think I
program.
can't not
So-
cuss? You've
It's
seen
in
me
a
around
brewery
your kids. Like I
drinking
can't stop.
So for the most part, there's been this idea of fuck flagships sort of deal,
Mhm.
And I know there's a couple other breweries that have practiced that as well, but you gotta be able to take what you can get and make the best of what you can at that moment. There's how many different hop breeds in the world right now? There's one that's being grown right here in Fairfield at Great Miami Hops that I think it's only been a proprietary a proprietary use for that farm and like 5 others in the country. But it's just something that you kind of have to figure out and make happen. Even if you do have to do different styles like IPAs, the substitutes are going to work just as well, and you might end up with something funkier and more cool. So.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Well, thinking about Blank Slate for a second, a lot of people have been saying that a horrible location. And Fairfield is kind of a nebulous area, in my mind at least. I'm sure it is for a lot of other people. We're about 5 minutes driving from Jungle Gyms.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like, what, one property over, more or
It's
less?
like 2 turns away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you
Really
know where
close.
Jungle Gyms is in Fairfield, we're just kind of behind it. I mean, it's a large warehouse. It's across from a field in a neighborhood. But are you worried about location from people from downtown getting out here? Or are you worried about Fairfield? Are you going to package and distribute, and that's going to be your go-to? Or what are you thinking there?
No, I've driven further for less, so that's
Ain't that the truth?
yeah. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm creating a destination here. Fairfield is a nice town. There's not a lot to do. When I have family come from out of town, we're here. Hey, we go to Jungle Gyms because it's a grocery store and it's interesting and different. If
And
that's
you get
all
a beer.
yeah, and there's beer now.
Right.
So it's this thing where we want to create something here, a community space, a place for things to happen, because a lot of people come home from their job in Cincinnati or in Mason or Westchester, and they come here, they take care of the kids, they put on other clothes, and then they're going to drive back to OTR or another hot spot in the area. There's something here. There's lots of actually bars in the area that people flock to, and we want to create a spot that's similar to that, but as a little more community gathering aspect.
Now, I don't know Fairfield well, but it seems like there aren't a lot of craft beer bars.
There are very few.
Right.
It's
So you
Jungle
can
Gyms,
definitely
and
get
so-
that
None
market.
that I can think of.
it-
Well, they're
if you-
sandwiched in with the local wing places.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
there's probably, there's
the
probably
BW3
a
does
crafty
have
bar that may
an
have
amazing
like a
selection.
8-month-old
Yeah,
keg,
yeah.
just like
Buffalo
that.
Well,
There-
Par's
there
place
are
has
bars
a
that
pretty
sell
good.
craft beer.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. If
I wouldn't
you can
call it a
drink
craft beer bar,
there.
though.
Or there's crafty beer.
Now, to be
Right.
fair, I've been to craft beer bars where there is an 8-month-old keg of Golden Drax. So
But now that's
there's
kind of
that.
a win. Isn't that a Belgian strong?
it is,
Yeah,
but
it tastes pretty
No.
good.
I'll bring you there. You can
No,
tell
we
me if
can't-
it's
we
decent.
don't need
Okay.
We can pass on that experience.
But, well, I guess that kind of leads back to an earlier question: is in whatever way you can release right now, what sort of beer should people kind of expect? Like, do you have a guiding philosophy on those, or you're gonna hit certain styles, or you're just gonna, use the recipes you got and see what people respond to?
We are all over the map with that, but we do have some recipes that we're going to try out, and we can obviously change those and make modifications. We're probably always going to have at least something light, something dark and strong, and something a little bit different, a little bit interesting, a little bit, I'm going to say weird, because some people like that. And then basically, once we have those few taps, we have 8 taps well, 12 actually, but we have 8 that we're going to roll out with, and once we have those few going, it's kind of like, what do we want to do? And we may get a little more
I
weird.
mean, even Dan sometimes, he goes, what are we brewing today? I'm like, I don't know, let me look through my recipes.
Let's
Let's
see
do
what grain we have.
raspberry IPA. Bam, let's do that.
Now,
I like
you've
raspberry
told me in the
Raspberry.
past that you already have some kind of ideas for expansion, but Chris, one of our followers here, Crystal Diebold, she wants to know if you'll be making any sours, and I'm gonna speak for her and say sours will include like funk, wild, or whatever, like kettle sours and so on.
To start, we will probably be going down the kettle sour route. Expansion plans are building another facility close by. We have the property space where we might buy a property across the street or down the street for more of a barrel house. I don't really want to cross the two, if at all possible. We will have some fun, but it's going to be in a very isolated way. I don't want to risk ruining everything here and creating a situation.
Now, I've kind of got a question out of left field for you today, but it came up. I don't know if any of you saw the article talking about Scofflaw Brewing down in Atlanta today. I think, Dan, you might have, but they kind of gave a lesson recently, and everyone at home, you can Google them and see what happened as of late. but they gave a lesson in how not to deal with the public. What is your guys' greatest concern when it comes to, I'd say, like the beer nerd community? Because being an admin on GCSBS, reporting on beer, Tom's seen this at all the events. There is a culture, and it can occasionally be toxic and weird and very harsh toward breweries if you don't do exactly what the nerds want, or they're not willing to take the time to kind of understand how the
or if
business
it's
works,
too carbonated or not carbonated enough,
or if it's too stouty.
right? Hashtag too stouty.
Or not stouty enough.
Shout out to Steve Shaw.
I'll kind of put that one to Chris here first. Like, starting out a new brewery, like, obviously a lot of good can come from the love that people have of craft beer, but does that worry you at all? Like, how people can so quickly form an opinion or wreck a business via social media?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we've ever been worried about anything like that. I think we've always been kind of a drink what you want to drink kind of group, whether it be, a mild lager or, hoppy IPA, whatever. I mean, I think we've always had that kind of mindset, and I think, as Dan's saying, we're going to kind of play with that mindset so we're going to have different styles of things. So we're going to have those things that, real nerdy beer nerds, because, I mean, two guys right here are some of the biggest beer nerds I ever met in my life. So, I mean, they know how to do that, and, so I think we're going to be able to kind of play the scope of it.
Well, another article that also was being cycled around today is talking about, like, it had a lot of people who had to close their breweries and talking about why they did that.
Ken Lewis from 8 Ball was interviewed in that.
Yep. He had some really good quotes in it. And what he was kind of talking about is that he saw that there are two sizes of breweries that he thinks will make it. Either you're really large at this point already, so I would say that's whether you're Rheingeist, Mad Tree, and above, or you're like you guys, and you're a small neighborhood-focused brewery that is going to have a tap room and it just focuses on their neighborhood. Like, do you guys think that is accurate, or what do you see the way forward for the industry?
Justin, would you like to tackle this one?
No.
No, okay. I think that definitely the neighborhood bar is gone, and what's replacing it are local breweries or local just craft beer bars or places to get food that has a bar in it. I think the larger breweries, obviously they know that they have things to worry about, like bottom line and every case counts, that type of thing. They already have their how they do things set up, and it's working and it's moving, and they just have to release the same beer again or do the flagship the way that they always have, and it works for the most part.
Or succumb to surveys online and can beers with octopuses on them.
I'm kind of excited about that, actually.
So about tactical?
Yes.
That's a very good beer.
You're throwing shade on Mad Tree. I'm not having it.
No, I'm
pun
mostly
intended.
throwing shade on the people who organized the survey and now think that they have changed the course of business for Mad Tree, which is totally nonsensical.
Back to the beer nerds that we don't want to upset.
Right.
Gotcha.
I can upset them. I really don't.
I think it's interesting how that plays out, and I think Mad Tree is an interesting example of moving up and to the next level and moving, and they've surmounted a lot this year, or since they've opened, and it's pretty cool to see. It's nice to see that they're moving, and they're not any less responsive if you ask them a dumb question, which is incredible for us.
I ask Brady dumb questions all the time, and he still hasn't hit me yet.
Tom,
Barely.
we have a prompt from a fan. Jason Author wants to know that you're a hater.
I am a hater. That was
Haterade.
I've been hating since
Is this
haters
coming from
hated.
Jason?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just respond with fanboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's an extent at which you can just do your own thing and keep on finally adjusting that vision, I mean, at some point, the stuff that you're putting out at first isn't going to be the end-all, be-all to what you're trying to produce.
No,
You can see that even from right now, like, let's say, with Urban Artifact,
Definitely.
Whenever they first came out, it was just like, ooh, sour. Why are they a sour brewery? That just sounds like that's never going to work. That sort of deal. And whenever it comes down to it, they were very headstrong about it. They develop recipes, they fine-tune them as they need to. Second year, in my opinion, as far as like beer nerd, internet hype, and whatever else, they've been incredibly successful in my eyes. You know, I've been a fanboy from the beginning because I don't know, I just like live music, and them doing that 7 nights a week was always just like mind blown. Let's go down there, that sort of thing. But even though the beer came secondary for me, now the beer's kind of turned around to become a primary thing, and it's really interesting to see the development of a brewery that's so young at that point, you know. And I think that some of the things that I've seen him produce with his home brewing are that different, are that taste worthy, and
well, give us an example here. Like, we want to help build some buzz here. Like, what should people like put on their calendars right now that you guys are going to have when you come out? That this is the thing you got to get.
I'm not in brewing, but I know what I want to see.
What would you like to see? Because I'm not stumped by this question, but I honestly have 2 or 3 things that I'm really interested in producing.
I want to see your oatmeal cookie amber ale.
Okay.
Period. Every single day of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that's my personal opinion. It's a fantastic
Cincinnati in
beer.
the tap room.
Yeah, Jeff's just going to be just over in a coma.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, a multi-brew doesn't need to be sober, right?
I do, actually. I do.
Well, no, it's
part of it.
it's even better if he's not, because then you can just bend him into shape and like use him as a ratchet, and you're good to go. That's what a Leatherman's for.
That sounds okay.
That's not weird.
Can you
at
please
all.
change your last name to Leatherman? That would be great. I think Berliner Weiss. Peepa's been working on a saison even more. We have a red rye saison that I love.
It's pretty good.
I'll be the first to say, like, saisons are probably my favorite beer style, and I judge a brewery on how well they produce a saison, which so I'm going to be very excited myself to see how this comes out. But
Justin's
my
like,
opinion
"Well,
doesn't
hey,
matter.
Come here, bartenders."
No, you just come on by. We'll give you some samples.
Oh, yeah.
See.
Excellent. Well, since you guys have a little bit before you open, how do you want fans to get involved? Like, what can they do now to help get the word out, or interact with you guys, or what can they see? What can they do?
Social media is huge. If there's something that you're looking for in the landscape, in craft beer, local craft beer in the area, let us know if that's something you're missing out on.
So a framboise is going to happen then?
If
I
you're
did write out a recipe for it.
yeah, we do actually have a recipe going that we're probably testing next week for it, so
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Definitely pay attention to the social media, because, like he had said before, we've been using that as a tool of research. So whether it be favorite beer styles, where you live, who knows what it could be. But some of our giveaways that we've been doing regularly is something that you can look forward to, like trying to get something for free, number one. Number two,
Free stuff rocks.
going ahead and just putting your input there. Hey, this is what I think, because I'm a consumer. I'm part of Cincinnati or Fairfield or Hamilton or wherever you are. So that's what we do.
And if you're just joining us now from home, we are Brew Minds, and we're here with all the guys from Swine City, and we're just learning everything that it takes to open up a brewery. So that as brief as you can make it.
Everything covered in an hour.
Yes. Well, that kind of leads me to my next question: is what has frustrated you most about opening this process? Because again, like there's I know from covering breweries, there's so many things that happen. What has been the biggest headache?
Oh man, I've had a few big headaches.
Depends on who's watching.
Yeah. No, I'm not afraid of any. I've made peace with all of that. Biggest headache is things that you don't foresee. I mean, that's the unforeseen things that you plan for, and then you plan for the unforeseen, and then it just doesn't even matter. And that's, it's nice to have a parachute when the plane's going down, but if you needed a raft, you're screwed, because that's not going to work out.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's really good.
It's not good.
It's nice to have a parachute when the plane's going down, but if you needed a raft, you're really screwed.
Yeah. It's just the waiting is hard. It's difficult. There's times when you feel like you need to be here, or you need to be in the building, or you need to be working on something for the brewery, and there's nothing that you can actually physically do, and that is the worst. You were just giving out all the goodies.
And now, like the waiting, you've had to do a lot of that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when did you first think you were gonna? You said this started about 3 years ago. When did
October last year was probably when we were completely cool with, and thought we were going to open, and that's pretty miserable.
On that,
Hold on.
Christy Alter wants to know
Oh.
what made you decide to want to open up your own brewery.
That's a really interesting question.
I want to talk Jason with strawberry rhubarb.
Yeah, can you please show that to Jason and Christy? Hey guys, we did a wedding. I did a wedding personally for a friend, and it was interesting that I produced all the beer on my own and brought it there, and Chris helped me carb it and helped me truck it over there. But it was really cool to see the large amount of beer that we had produced and all different styles that was just gone at the end of the night. And it was a blonde ale that was left over, which was nice to see because we had like a coffee stout and a red rye, and you don't expect that those styles are going to go, but these people were just killing it.
You'd expect the blonde to blow first.
Yeah, and we had like a cherry blonde too and a blueberry blonde, which were all pretty much the same thing, but still, the blonde, its solo was left, and that I thought that would appeal to most of the older folks, and they were interested in the other weird stuff. And so I got approached by a family member that just said, hey, if you want to do this, here's some cash, let me know how much more you need, and then I ended up kicking in quite a bit of a 401k to make things happen, and we got a loan. But basically just seeing that people care about this sort of thing and would enjoy that is what's pushed me to it. And I'm excited about having a place in Fairfield that I can go and enjoy, and it just so happens that I'm involved in it, but there's not a lot.
It really is kind of a dead spot. I mean, you've got one in Hamilton, somebody else is working on another one in Hamilton. Two more in Hamilton?
Well, yeah, because there's the female-led brewery,
Simple City.
and then there's
Simple
Quarter
Quarter
Barrel.
Barrel, right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot about Quarter Barrel. And then you've got Fig Leaf and Rivertown up by Monroe. You've got Dogberry and Westchester. So you guys are kind of in an odd little triangle.
I would
So-
say Fibonacci should be in that group.
They
as
are.
well.
Right, they're kind of the
Yeah.
southern.
Yeah.
For me.
If you make a diamond of it, they're kind of on the southern point of that.
Me too,
For
Yeah.
Northwest Cincinnati.
I do still work there.
Sorry about that.
Strawberry rhubarb.
Womp, womp, womp.
It's like life. It's all right.
Here's a thought as we're drinking this beer.
Yes.
Is there a beer that you've had that's kind of been maybe one of your guideposts as you're brewing that you want to exceed? That it's something you've loved for a long time. Not Malort.
We're not opening a distillery yet. It's actually one up the street opening.
Yet
so
everyone.
Yeah.
Yet.
there's one locally that's pushing, so we'll see. They do contract currently, so they're not actually on the shelves locally. Hey, there's our cat.
Kitty.
Everybody needs a brewery.
Yeah, so
I love
Panaport is one of those beers that if I could make a quad that would stand the test of time like that and just be good every year, would be great. Strawberry rhubarb is another one of those that I think Fire Iron's probably going to taste like that in a couple of years. There's going to be something that Urban does that's just insane like that.
Gotta be careful saying that.
Saying what?
Comparing Urban Artifact and New Glarus.
Why?
Facebook will hate on you.
I don't care.
Been there, done that.
Did I say that it's going to be that now? No, I said it in a couple of years maybe.
They don't care.
No,
They don't care.
I know, I don't care. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm allowed to make these claims. So let's see. I really enjoy, Radler's really simple things that are just delicious. Hot summer day, lawn mowing type of beers. I'd love to exceed that. I really want to make a killer stout in this area.
I do think we need a really good, easily available year-round stout.
Yeah.
We've got a few good ones, but they're hit and miss. I mean,
Look at Taurus.
right.
Taurus is, Boris was good. Taurus is just killer, and that's not local enough for me.
Well, even like Axis or Ink,
Yeah.
those don't come around very often. I mean, Axis used to be a lot more widely available. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it the past couple times. I don't feel like anybody else has a killer, just stout. You don't have to have ghost peppers and raspberries and who knows what else. Just damn fine
The
stout.
stoutiest of stouts.
Well, kind of on that issue,
Yeah.
I know you guys are
Cream.
just starting to open, so even asking about package is a little premature. But as we were talking earlier about being like the neighborhood bar, like, what are your thoughts on package? Like, are you thought about, making a go at the grocery store game, or are you more in the thoughts of there'll be seasoning offerings, like probably bottled and maybe a mobile canning run, or is that even something that you think you guys want to take on?
Yeah, definitely. The mobile canning thing for us is a little too expensive for what you end up getting. It's nice to get your package out on the shelf and have your name out there, and people go, "Oh, there's a brewery in Fairfield." So that's pleasant, but you can do that with the same cost for that is roughly the same for an inexpensive canner, and then using the funding from that to piggyback to a nicer, larger canner. I've seen it done by Fig Leaf, so I know that it's completely possible. I've seen it done other places too. We have our wine license as well, so ciders in bottles is definitely something we're going to make a go of. We have established relationships with Jungle Gyms and Marty's and a couple other places. I don't think Kroger would be a hard play, but it's probably not going to be beer for us just because they want volume. That's not something that we want to be small and weird. We want to do interesting things. We will have the same thing available from time to time, but still having that creativity and being able to do that is worth it to me.
So would you argue then that it's more of kind of a marketing stance? Because I remember when I was starting out covering the industry, that's what several of the now bigger local brewers have told me, that package is really marketing. Like their margins on packaging are very, very low. Where you're making your money is either through taproom sales or through keg sales, because the margins are much, much higher. So is that similar to like your philosophy on it? Or?
Through a distributor, yes. That's where it becomes difficult. If you're self-distributing or you've taken on that, you can usually cut your costs down quite a bit on
Well, you
that.
have a multi-tool, so your multi-tool can drive around town. He can just, you can just throw some six-packs under the seats on the brew bus.
He's
And
the only
make
one with the
deliveries.
truck, so he can definitely deliver kegs. So.
Look at the trailer.
Oh, Tyler Bueller has chimed in. He wants you to do meads, and he's very excited for a Radler. So
I want us to do these.
Have Tyler come on over and we'll do a mead.
There you go.
well, you heard it, Tyler. Come on.
The barley one was delicious. I look forward to Beer and Sweat and trying it again.
Ooh, yes.
Can't
Just
wait.
a shout out, everybody watching it live. We are 2 days away from Beer and Sweat. If you don't have plans, Saturday night, it opens at 5 o'clock. If you're not a member of the Bloats, I believe it's $30 to get in and drink all the beer that you can possibly drink. And you become a bloat for the rest of the year, and it is my favorite event of the entire year in Cincinnati, and I strongly encourage you to go.
I'm pretty mad that I'm going to miss it yet again
That was
this
a
year.
failure on your part.
Bachelor parties. What are you going to do?
You bring the bachelor party to
Yeah,
beer.
I
Seems
tried.
like a
He's in
no-brainer.
Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to bring some more strawberry rhubarb.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
That's
drank
a fair
my strawberry
trade.
rhubarb.
Beer and Sweat, strawberry rhubarb. It balances.
Jeff.
He's-
KBS and strawberry rhubarb. Does anybody treat you this good, Tom?
Not really, no.
Izzy.
And it's not even Tuesday night.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's Tuesday night.
We don't
Yeah,
talk
really.
about that.
What?
I forgot the
Wednesday
first
night?
two rules of Tuesday night. It's Thursday night.
Definitely Thursday night.
Yeah. Sorry, I got my days wrong.
So, I mean, how do you think you guys are going to open? Like, I know lately people have been having soft opens where, if you create a Facebook event for your soft open, it's not really a soft open.
Right.
People
But,
just coming in. Anyone
we-
can just walk in.
Basically, since we've had a Facebook page and since
Mhm.
people have started contacting us, wondering when we're open or wondering if we're open or wondering why the door's closed or the lights are off, we basically said, hey, if you'd like to be part of the soft open list, let me know. So I imagine before our grand opening, we will have a solid week of soft
Mhm.
opens. So if you drive past and there's people here, come on in because that's what we're doing, and they will all be invited then, and we'll slowly let it out because it's better to have that as type of a test run than just open and be like, oh no, this didn't work or this is
I mean,
broken.
we have enough people that stop by on a regular basis. Just random
Like
people,
cops
not
on
even
random
like.
Saturday afternoons.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was
Just
really
random
interesting
people
that
just
green.
always stopping by.
Cops in a good way. Really good way. And he
I've-
was really interested in getting some of that green weed, by which I mean hops.
Oh,
The sister
Swine
weed.
City is
Did
very
you
cousin
eat
weed,
today,
whatever
Tom?
you call it.
Tom Aguero
I
of
swear,
Monroe, Ohio.
we're hanging out here, and this cop rolls up. We're kind of like, we're both like, oh shit. But he comes in like talking about the brewery, and he was talking about home brewing, but like he was going to listen to something that was too late. And Dad's like, "Oh, I got all these hops. Here, you need some hops. What hops do you need?" So you made friends with the local law enforcement by supplying hops.
And that's
True.
a good friend to have on your side.
He did not like my joke about selling him green in a warehouse. I was trying to win him over, and it just didn't work. He was in the uniform. If he was out of the uniform, he
That
probably would
was
have
true.
laughed.
Yeah, he had his camera on, so he probably couldn't laugh.
That's true.
But well, I'll put it to you guys. What are you guys most excited for with the opening of the brewery? And like a
Paycheck.
beer, an event.
I'm just
Obviously,
excited.
money.
Chris is like, yup.
Chef.
I'm just excited to actually start brewing on the bigger system, getting back into it. You know, I love, brewing on a 10-gallon system multiple times a week, but I'm excited to. Some days maybe not.
Liar.
Some days when you come in, all right, fill up the hot liquor tank. We don't have the crane for that. But yeah, I'm just
Figure it
excited
out.
to get back to brewing on a bigger scale. Staying extremely busy, cleaning tanks. It's what I love to do. So that's pretty much what I'm excited for. I guess it's not technically for the opening, but pre-opening. But in that sense, just having this place open and seeing this place filled. So
So, I mean, do you guys have any final thoughts on opening up a brewery or anything you want to say about Swine City right now, just to get it out there before we wrap it up?
I have a final thought, just in general, for business. Score Group, Score Consulting, they are a free service that will do wonderful things for your business, even if it's open or not. They are an amazing asset. They will sit down with you and answer the dumbest questions.
Give us an example of your dumbest question.
Oh God, I don't know that I actually know it now because it was so dumb that I flushed it. Come on.
it made fun of you so much you had to.
Well, okay.
Hire people.
I'm gonna take Tom's question and tweak it a little bit. Like, as much as I love the craft beer community, man,
Going
how
out
do
of
I
here-
want to?
Going out of here on,
yeah.
you were going out of here on
He's
fire. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, great.
I'm about to throw some shade.
You were gonna
I'm
regret
throw some
this.
serious shade.
Exactly. We can cut it.
There's a lot of people that
We got Dan's closing statements.
they made good homebrew, and now all of a sudden, like they're
My
going to
mom loves
open.
my homebrew.
Yeah, your mom likes your homebrew, so you're going to open a brewery. Like,
My mom loves my homebrew, and everybody funded my Kickstarter.
Kickstarter is a whole different issue.
Jesse
What-
started this, by the way.
Wow.
What would you tell people,
Not
like
TV style.
cautionary tale, like because I know from being friends with you for a couple years now, you've put in your work, like you've done the research, like you've got no illusions of what it's going to take to do this, and I think now's your opportunity to tell the people who, whether they're thinking seriously or it's a passing idea and think that they could, like, what do they need to know? Like,
I can tell you what worked great for me
Mhm.
is you'll never do it. That thing right there. I was actually listening to a comedy special. Sarah Silverman said, "You'll never do it." She sees people all the time like, "Oh, I just need this much money to do this." And she's like, "You'll never do it. You'll never accomplish it. It's gonna fail. It's not gonna work." Because that for me is people struggle against that. The worst thing in their mind is failing at anything. You will fail. It's a constant series of learning and failing. And for me, you just have to find a plan. You have to focus on it, not look sideways, not look behind you. You're going to just stumble if you end up looking any other way but forward on your plan. You can't look at what other people are doing. It's not going to work that way. You need to stay true to what you believe and what you do. You may end up being wrong, but you stuck to your guns on that deal. You will be able to adjust if you find the right team. If you find a group of savages like I found these guys down here, believe it or not, they will help you steer the right way. I've been told that's not going to work multiple times by Jeff, especially. He's just like, that's not going to work. Like, okay, and then we figure out another way to do it. But that's the constant series of just trying things and failing and doing it right the next time. But yeah, you will fail is a good negative note to leave it on.
Well, I actually have a little bit of positive information.
Brew live from Swine City, you will fail.
You're gonna fail.
This actually kind of turns into like our whole
positive.
weirdness about Swine City. Like, there's a reason why we didn't call ourselves like Porkopolis Brewing. You know, that could have very well been, hey, we're grounded in Cincinnati. Look at us. Blah blah blah. We're very much a funhouse mirror, and at the same time a realism to what beer is and what it could be, and what we can establish inside our community as well. And that's one of the cool things about working for me with Dan, Chris, and Justin and Debbie, who's not here, is that everybody's got bright ideas, and we all take each other relatively seriously, but we can all josh around too and kind of just really make something positive out of it. So something like that, that's the dark humor that exists within Swine City, and God knows there's plenty of that. You're not here during the day. It's it gets pretty filthy. It's nice.
Poor people.
Yeah. It's usually me just. They say
Poor
dark humor, but it's
virgin
really
ears.
just me
Rain,
just
Justin.
getting slammed constantly.
Well, that's when you just
Me
turn up
getting
the rap
chased around the
music and
brewery
go to
at one
work.
point.
Oh no! I come in and there's just sad folk music on the radio.
Oh, God.
Are we doing this today again?
Wait, you mean he doesn't listen to himself rap all the time?
I
Like,
wish.
it's the largest band in the world. Why are we listening to this?
That's actually.
Why are you
short,
so
huh?
sad? I'm not sad. I'm in a great mood. Yeah, this music's so sad. I know it keeps me happy. Doesn't make sense. It's like sad folk music.
Well, before we close it up, like, where should people go to get the latest information? Any websites, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff?
Yes.
Facebook is where we are most present. Instagram gets some sneak peeks at things that we're brewing here, test batching.
Twitter's their head stepchild.
And Twitter got our some shenanigans the other night, and we had a little too much Malort. So I mean,
We posted this Facebook.
We might have
Yeah.
Snapchat soon once I create an account. They don't want me to, but I'm going to.
Oh, that's dangerous.
I've seen your Snapchat. It's scary.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I like Snapchat.
We know.
It's kind of
It's got its
cool.
purpose.
I think it's
it's-
a new form of social media.
Yeah, I think they all have their purpose. I think Facebook is where we're most active, just because we have a large user base there, and a good percentage of the population knows how to use it. And that's the thing with Twitter.
Because I always forget about Twitter.
I'll have to
What it is.
I'll have to show you later about Facebook and all that.
All right, I'd love to see it.
But all right, well, we've been talking with all the guys from Swine City. We have I have one quick note before we go. I talked with people at Blank Slate, and they let me know that Fork in the Road in cans has now dropped in Kentucky. So if you're looking to get like what last little bit Blank Slate has to offer, that is out there. You should expect it in Ohio very soon if it's not already out. If you go to the Brew Minds Facebook page, we do have a post about the hoodies and shirts and glassware and stuff that you can get from Blank Slate. They just let me know that they do still have some glassware available. As I'm sure you know, they're closing up shop and need to get all that cleared out. So if you just email them, they will be able to take it care of. And once that's done and these guys are open, you can come here and get yourself a fine Swine City shirt. Maybe Jeff, you can take one of those and share it off with people.
Swine what?
Swine
Swine
City. Swine City.
I did it before we
Swine
started.
City.
Get yourself some Swine City gear, and remember to support local. So, Tom, you got any final thoughts for people?
I'm so glad that I didn't say Swine Shitty.
Well, I'm from Kansas, and we have a way of talking. Thanks, everybody.